What's up, fellow lords of gaming, and welcome back to another episode of Marvel Future Fight. Today we're going to jump in with our March update to discuss the Sinister Syndicate. Now, I have to say, I think there's going to be a lot of divided opinion on the update, given that we're getting characters mostly with uniforms and doesn't really look or appear to be much in terms of like maybe upgrades for the characters. But let's take a look and dive deep down inside for the moment. Now, these are all the sneak peeks that we're gonna get for the launch of the update, because they basically finished with Doc Ock. I apologize that I'm running on these late, except for the fact that I've been busy with real world work related stuff. So let's jump into this though, and let's get cracking. So number one, we got the sneak peek for Doc Ock, which was just, I think that was amazing. Like, the Doc Ock update was it was really cool, in my opinion. The uniform is definitely going to probably be one of those things that I think a lot of players are going to be like, hey, where the hell this come from? Because I don't even know where this looks come from. That's just the truth of the matter, right? But over here on a sneak peek number one, we get this CM fragment of Marvel Future Fight. This supervillain who can control his tentacle arms freely is willing to put the world in danger to be praised. Check out the new looks and abilities of this supervillain in this new suit designed to keep him alive. So now, I think that this suit, the look of it anyways, like, this looks pretty cool. Like, it's weird because he's in like this shell almost a la MODOK, right? And he's basically in here being kept alive, and then you can see his tentacles. I think this is going to be, I think it could be a look that's done pretty well. I'm dying to see what the changes on the character are going to look like in terms of abilities and stuff. But this does potentially have the ability to be a really cool looking uniform, especially the way his face is done inside here. This actually looks like a character model suit, so I'm interested to see this. Like, this looks like it might be a lift of a character model, so I'm dying to see that one on him. Over on Twitter sphere, right? So let's take a look at that real quick. So over on Twitter, we basically got the update here. Not a whole lot to chew on, anything more than that, but we're just getting, he's set to unleash vengeance in Marvel Future Fight. Will he join your team? So what have they done to be blacklisted? No unit since day one. This is funny. So it's got to be interesting, right? And certainly you see some of the people's stuff inside here. So I think it's going to be interesting in that we get Doc Ock, right? And here was a weird part for me for Doc Ock, right? So Doc Ock's going to get his upgrade inside here, right? Now, the interesting part is that if you look at the previous uniform that Doc Ock got, which was the No Way Home uniform, this uniform was pretty damn powerful. Like, for real, truthfully, I thought the uniform was pretty powerful. It's still pretty good. It's still pretty decent. Doc Ock comes into a very strange position too, because of whom he's competing against for that combat role. He's basically competing, excuse me, I went into the wrong thing. He's basically competing in the supervillain tier, and he's stacked up against Hulk, and he's stacked up against Namor, and then Carnage as well. So like, when you look at these characters, like, yeah, man, I'm dying to see where he's going to stack inside those. Like, you're essentially looking at a character that's going to have to be more powerful than those characters. It's kind of weird because I don't think that he should overpower any of these characters. Let's just be truthful about it, right? I don't think that he should place higher than any of those three characters. However, it is a possibility that he could. I think that at the very minimum, we know that he has to be, well, we know he has to be more powerful than Titania and Juggernaut. Those are recent updates, but you're going to expect to see him somewhere in here in this tier, right? Now, you can look at some of the other combat class characters inside here, and you can quickly make your decision based on the other combat class characters, whether or not this is a character combat supervillain that you need to go into, because it's not like there's a whole lot of pool here. So you're basically either looking at, like, I can't for the life of me imagine that Mr. Fantastic is going to repeat as a villain. We just saw Kingpin get an update to T3, excuse me. So the only other villain that's inside here that you could reliably see eclipsing the character is going to be Apocalypse, right? Now, hopefully that update comes at some point soon and we get an Apocalypse update. I never really liked this uniform. I thought it was a terrible look. Face looks good, but the uniform overall was pretty trash in my opinion. But he doesn't have a whole lot stacked against him in terms of competition for combat, you know, T4 villains that could be down the road potentially. So you could end up in a space where as you're finally kind of rounding out the combat class type characters in terms of what they will possess and what they could possess for the game. I think Doc Ock stands a good, you know, possibility of maybe being better than Namor, maybe worse than Hulk. Depending on where he's going to be, he really shines in like Shadowland and some other places. So like, you know, he could stack up inside there. It'd be nice to see him, right? So next up we had Kraven. It was his chance to shine, and I think that no matter what with Kraven, the interesting part is that he's gonna shine no matter what, because it's been a while since my man has had an update. Like, I mean, a while since he has had an update. We'll take a look at that in a second. But this is CM Fragment of Marvel Future Fight. The supervillain who can take down large animals with his bare hands has enhanced physical powers after his interdimensional travels. Check out the new looks of this supervillain who is on the hunt for his ultimate prey. Not necessarily in the caliber of Doc Ock, but the uniform does look good. I would have to say, like, it almost looks like a huge departure from Kraven's previous uniforms, but it's a really cool look. Like, I really dig it. And again, you get to see the character model there. So not a whole lot to add over on the Twitter sphere. We got Kraven the Hunter set to join the forces with Sinister Syndicate and become part of an unstoppable force of evil. So now when we look at that character and we were to go inside here, you can see Kraven up there. He hasn't had a uniform since time immemorial. So seeing him get some shine is going to be really cool. These skills that you would look at them, they are like so bare bones in terms of what they are. It lets you know how old the character is. So the thing is that he's going to essentially be, you know, in that league of characters that no matter what he gets is going to look like a big power up. Not to mention that when you get down to the speed type supervillains, there are not a whole lot of characters in there that you're really technically looking at. So essentially he's going to be competing against Green Goblin. So when we look at Green Goblin's skills over here, we can see that he hasn't had his T3 yet, which we were all surprised about when he got this. He didn't get an awakening, which we were all surprised about as well. Kraven's more than likely going to get an awakening. Let's be honest with that. I don't know, because I haven't watched the trailer to dig deep on that one this time around to see whether or not it was an awakening or a T3 yet for that character. But if you were to look at the characters, essentially you don't have a whole lot. We've got Chasm over here, which is a new character, tier 3. I think, like, you know, he shined and then he went away. You look at like the Black Order, and we haven't really had a lot in terms of like these guys getting updates. More than likely we'll end up probably at some point soon. Thanos T4 has to come, right? But then you're looking at like Mystique. She's a support type character, and you're looking at Electro. He had his time, kind of went away. Spider-Gwen's still kind of relevant in my opinion a little bit, and then you've got the rest of the pack. Now, as long as these two kind of jump and leapfrog over Electro, well, I think they would have to leap over Corvus as well, but that's essentially where you're looking at them being in the mix, somewhere with these three characters over here. As long as they were in that pool of characters, I think they probably sit well, but you can see it's a really small field of speed type supervillains, so it's kind of like, you know, yeah, we'll probably do good with both of these characters. Now, Green Goblin is interesting. I want to pull up Green Goblin here because this trailer was just, man, shout out to the team over at Netmarble for doing the sneak peeks, because this sneak peek was just fire. So we had, this is CM Fragment Agents, the supervillain who put the city into terror with his newly acquired alien. A weapon has returned. Check out the new look and powers of this supervillain who has bonded to the Carnage symbiote. So now I'm gonna let you guys see this trailer. So like, yeah, that update was just straight fire. So over on the Twitter sphere, we get a little bit more update here. Green Goblin unleashes new symbiote powers and is ready to join the Sinister Syndicate to defeat his foes once and for all. I think this is a win overall. So we're probably getting a T3 in terms of Green Goblin. It's just weird to me that we haven't gotten that yet. I fully expected, like, in terms of all the super, speed supervillains, I would have really expected Green Goblin to be the one to get that, T4 first. Like, yeah, it just, like, if you look at the villain lineup here in terms of speed supervillains, like, who else could you potentially see in terms of supervillains? So the anticipation is that Green Goblin will get his tier 4 here, join Spidey in those ranks, and then if you were to go back to the combats, you notice that we still have, some of the other Sinister Six, like Lizard, Rhino, and Sandman, who have all of these characters have not received any due justice for their uniforms at all since they've been introduced to the game, and they can definitely do with some love. I'm going to imagine that we'll probably see these characters get awakenings without uniforms, which we all know we hate those, right? But they'll get an awakening without uniform for those, and that's probably where they'll sit. But going back to the speed type supervillains, it's kind of weird because if I had to take a guess look at any of these outside of Mystique or Corvus Glaive, I would have anticipated that the first character up to get a T4 in terms of supervillains would have been a character like Green Goblin, but I guess I was wrong. So clearly, right? So we'll have to see where that goes down for our speed type supervillains, and who's gonna get that tier 4 first. But we've got him joining the likes of T3, Kraven's probably awakening, and then we get the Doc Ock T4 inside here. So it should be very interesting in terms of competition. But the truth of the matter is, for Kraven, no matter what, this is going to be a big boost inside of here. Now, they also released the update for the key art, which was absolutely fantastic in my opinion. So you got that on a sneak peek on the forums. Agents, are you ready to face the supervillains who have formed a group to fight their greatest spider foes? The theme of this March update is the Sinister Syndicate. Check out the new looks and powers of Doc Ock, Kraven the Hunter, and Green Goblin. So now, this key art is absolutely phenomenal. Like, looking at Green Goblin over here, Red Goblin, Symbiote Goblin, whatever you want to call them, like, this is a seriously sick look. Like, I don't know why, but like, I think Netmarble misses out on a lot of opportunities to make like Halloween type level uniforms. Just me being like, these two uniforms almost like would have been perfect for Halloween uniforms, but whatever. Kraven the Hunter looks absolutely dope over here. Like, I mean, he looks really cool. I'm dying to see what they do with his art and stuff inside the game. And like I said, Green Goblin, I think no matter what, he's going to be in that meta pool. And especially as a T3, he's get his new powers and stuff like that. This is going to make him more viable. And we'll have to see where Doc Ock fits inside there. I personally like Doc Ock as a character. None of these characters like overwhelmingly like somebody that I would like absolutely, they would make my roster in terms of characters I play on a daily with. But I am intrigued by the new uniforms coming for characters, especially like for the likes of Kraven, where they're going to get some love and they get, that little boost of power. Both of these characters are pretty damn good in the game currently as they exist with the uniforms. It hasn't even been that long since they got their previous uniforms, but I think they're favorites enough for people that I think people will purchase these uniforms. So that's about all that we got for the update. We'll have to see what the update patch notes look like. I'm expecting them to come tonight. Maybe they'll come tomorrow, but I'm expecting tonight, so that we probably hit the update schedule like we did before, where we get a Tuesday update instead of a Wednesday update, which would be pretty dope. But I'll bring you guys the update details as soon as I see them. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Until next time, peace.